Hi, are you into public speaking? If you are, you need to remember this. We come from what we think and what we feel. We come from our life story, our autobiography, whether we realise it or not. If we have had a very interesting life, then we have more to draw on. And what do we draw on? We draw on the experiences that have had the greatest impact on our life personally. And we try to tie them in with what we think will help the audience. So if we've overcome something, or we've been through something and come out the other side and are the better for it, even though we might come through almost unscathed or even damaged, what we have is an experience from our life which we can tell to the audience. Of course, we have to realise that it has to be something which they are likely to feel or have felt themselves. Otherwise, there's no empathy there. I'm a storyteller, and most of the stories I tell, perhaps not all of them, but a good deal of them, come from my own background. And when I say my own background, I'm talking about the first 40 years of it, not the last 45 years of it. The last 45 years of it have been pretty ordinary. I could say along the lines of most people. I hope that doesn't sound too condescending. But the last 45 years of my life were mostly spent in office work, in environments, sitting behind a desk, sitting behind workstations. There's nothing particularly memorable about that, to me anyway. But in the first 40 years of my life, many experiences, a lot of them to do with the maritime, being a sailor, going to sea, others to do with aviation, being an air-ground radio operator, a police radio operator, and working in various organisations with telecommunications, which are often of a dramatic nature. So I can tell stories about aviation and about the maritime because of my past experiences. I can also talk about truck driving because I was a truck driver for a while. What I'm saying here is that if we can pack plenty of adventures into our life, then we have more to draw on as a speaker. Now, if you've been in business all your life, perhaps founded your own business, then certainly you can talk about businesses, how to succeed in business. I wouldn't even bother trying. I've never owned my own business. I've never been my own boss. I've always had to look to someone else as far as an authoritative figure is concerned, maybe the captain of a ship, although I have had lots of autonomy in my work, working alone on ships, working alone at airports, and this sort of thing. So I'm not saying that I didn't have lots of responsibility. Responsibility goes with the sort of jobs that I held. I can recall one day the irony of being asked by a little group of people who had the power of promoting me in my work or not. This was in the last half of my life. 3 people who were young enough to be my children asking if I'd ever had any real responsibility. To which I told them yes. I was officer in charge of a team at Port Moresby Airport and had the authority to close the airport down. They looked at me aghast. It didn't really register. They had no idea. Their idea of responsibility was getting some work done out of a team of 4 or 5 people working on computers. But I'm being a bit ironic, a bit sarcastic here, I realise that. The point is this. If you've had an adventurous life, lots of stories, lots of real life experiences, perhaps backed up by lots of theory, books you've read and so forth, other people you've worked with, stories you've heard from them. You have more to draw on as a speaker. The message here is get as much adventure behind you as you can, as much experience of life, as much feelings from life as you can, before you venture out there to become professional, perhaps as a professional speaker. Then you have something, some meat in it, something to really tell people. Get out there and have those adventures. Change jobs, see the world. Have all types of friendships with all types of people. Then you have more to draw on when you actually get up in front of an audience and start to think, well, what am I going to speak about today? You'll always have plenty of material if you've had a full